New Trump scandal shows the depths of his assault on the American Democratic Foundation. Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, and Selma Hayek star in a movie worse than The Green Lantern. And Anheuser-Busch is giving away free beer to those who get vaccinated. I'm not Bluuuuuue45. All that and more coming up. Actually, that went pretty good. Podcast in 3, 2. Welcome to the G.N.A podcast, Games, Nerds, and Alcohol, where we get drunk and talk about stuff. I don't know why I'm talking in this voice. I just threw on my customer service voice real quick, and, well, there you have it. So we're being joined tonight by a good old staple of the show. I'm actually going to start naming the show after him, Damok. How you feeling, man? Welcome to the G.N.A podcast, Games, Nerds, and Alcohol, where we get drunk and talk about stuff. I don't know why I'm talking in this voice. I just threw on my customer service voice real quick, and, well, there you have it. So we're being joined tonight by a good old staple of the show. I'm actually going to start naming the show after him, Damok. How you feeling, man?
Not too bad, Cecil. Honestly, it's pretty straightforward, man. How's everything over at your place?
You know, I would be lying if I said it wasn't fantastic. It's pretty calm and quiet over here. Cool 78 degrees outside. Nice cruising altitude. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, you were just talking craziness a second ago, and then all of a sudden you were like, yes, how can I help you? Okay, not a problem, sir. Let's go ahead and get this done. Sure, no, I understand. I can go ahead and take care of that for you. Not a problem, sir. Yes. Yeah. No, I understand. These technicians, these other guys, no, you don't ask for them. You ask for me every time you call. Yes, sir, I appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, and it's my pleasure. Oh, man. It's been a hell of a week. Holy crap. I even had a day off this week, and it still was a hell of a week.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fun week.
Well, let's get on to the most important thing. And of course, for me, because it's not cheat day, the lamest thing. What is everybody drinking? And by everybody, Damok, what are you drinking? Because all I'm drinking is lemonade. And it's not even good lemonade. It's Crystal Light lemonade. I
think I have to just quit the show now, dude. I hate Crystal Light with a fiery passion. Like, it's so awful. But me, I am drinking, well, let's see. I've been drinking since I got off work, and it's several hours past that. But mostly I've been sticking to Dogfish Head the Truth. That's not Dogfish Head. No. Flying Dog? Whatever. I've been drinking the Truth since work ended at 3. It's almost 8 now, so yeah.
Damn.
That's pretty much.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I haven't been drinking anything at all. I've literally been drinking lemonade and water because I, for some weird reason, think I still need to be limiting my calorie intake. Who knows why, but still doing it. However, I did learn a very, very important fact very recently. If you attempt to do a handstand and you twist your wrist, do not attempt to do push-ups on that wrist until you're fully healed.
Or you could learn a hard lesson like Moon did and be like, oh yeah, I broke my hand a couple months ago and I have like a bolt in my pinky and everything. Let me punch a punching bag and see if it's all healed up. Oh no, I broke the rest of my hand.
Yeah. So actually, the worst part is that I'm actually in a brace currently because I literally, if I move my wrist at all in any direction, the pain is pretty damn bad. Last night.
Why the fuck? Why?
So I was trying to do a handstand because my lovely wife had me convinced that I could go do one. And she's like, yeah, I'll help you. I'll grab your legs. I'll make sure you don't go all the way over. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I've never actually had somebody offer to do that. So let me get this a shot, see what happens. And, I went up the first time and I didn't, I barely got 45-degree angle. And she's like, yeah, you got to give a little bit more kick off than that. I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And, I gave another kick and I got my legs like 99% of the way up. And, as I did, you know how your hand bends backwards? Well, when you go to stand up, your hand bends backwards. Well, I locked my elbows thinking I needed to keep my arms completely straight. Well, the weight of me kept me going up and it rolled right on top of that wrist. And just like rolling your ankle, I just rolled right on that wrist. And, that arm, of course, as soon as that pain shot through, that arm buckled and I went collapsed to the ground. And I just sat there for a second. I said, I think I'm going to lay off on this for a little while. But then the best part, here's the best part of that story. And I hope somebody gets a laugh out of this other than me, because I've laughed hysterically at it. I did that over the weekend. It was about a week later. I go to do my workout, my normal workout, and I do minor lifting, nothing crazy, just really minor lifting stuff. And I asked at the end of it, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to finish off with some push-ups, just do X number sets of push-ups, figuring that I would just go like 15 push-ups, 3 sets, something like that, or 20 push-ups, 3 sets, something easy, something quick. So I asked my daughter, I said, hey kid, give me a random number. So she gives me 43. Like, all right. So I knock out 43 push-ups. I'm feeling pretty good with myself. I've never actually been able to do more than about 35-ish, maybe 40 push-ups in a whole workout. So I got knocked out 43. I'm feeling pretty good at myself. I'm not ex-military. I've never really done push-ups all that much except for gym class. And then it was like, hey, do 10 push-ups and we're done. So that Saturday rolls around and I'm doing another workout. And I looked at my wife, because we were starting a workout. And we have these workouts where you can do like 1 set of them, 2 or 3 sets, depending on how intense you want your workout to be. So I look at her and I'm like, ×3. And she's like, no, we're not doing ×3. And I said, wait for it. I look over at the kid and I said, hey kid, how many give me a random number. So last time she saw me do 43, she's like, oh, I'm going to give you a lesser number this time. I'm like, next time. I said, okay. So I said, hey, give me a number. 32. So there I am, knocking out 96 push-ups. And I didn't do them all at once. So, I wish I could say I did. I did not. But I did 96. But then when I got to the end of the 90, like as I'm getting there and I had like 6 left, I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I did the 6 and then I just went, all right, let's keep going. And I literally just kept doing push-ups until literally my arms just failed and I dropped. Well, it was about that time that I realized, over 100 push-ups on a really, really sprained wrist, not the best of ideas. So there I am with a wrist brace on. And finally, last night, my arm was feeling good enough. I'm like, hey, let me take this damn wrist brace off for a little bit. Get my arm move a little bit, get some stretching done, get some, nothing crazy. And of course I go and horseplay around with the Destructo bot and she goes to like push out of my arm because we were just horsing around. And as she pushes out of my arm, she presses my hand up against the door frame and proceeds to push using the leverage of the door frame to try to push past me. Oh my God. The pain was not the most disturbing part. The cracking sound that came out of my wrist was the most disturbing part.
I want to find that funny. I really do, but no, dude. Like the kiddo over here, whenever she wants to roughhouse, I'm like, yeah, and like, oh, my back should not make that noise. I'm out. But as far as doing the push-ups, no, I did that fucking stupid game in the military. I don't have to do push-ups or burpees or anything voluntary ever goddamn again, or try and run 2 miles in under 15 minutes. No, get fucked. I'm not doing that. I do, like, and you're talking about, and I know you said you're not ex-military and all of that, and that's fine, but to minimally pass my PT test, I had to do 38 push-ups to just minimum. That's just, no matter what, I have to do 38 in under 2 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm never doing that bullshit again. I don't have to do it. Your wrist and your chest and your arms. Nope, fuck no, dude.
Oh,
I'm done
man.
with that garbage.
Yeah, like if I hadn't done the 43 push-ups on Monday, those 100 some odd push-ups I did would have murdered me. I literally would not have been able to move, but I got done. I was stretching all the way throughout. I kept stretching afterwards. I woke up the next day, felt like I had rubber bands pulled across my chest. Just did stretching. Oh, God.
Now, do you do them the right way, or do you do them the stupid way?
Are you talking about basically doing a plank with your chin up, go down, come up?
So when you're doing them, the way to do them is to put your arms and like put your elbows that are against your body, and you're supposed to extend. You're going to do a bigger push-up this way, but as your body starts to get tired, you move out and out and out until you're doing them like really wide arm just to knock out the rest of them.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I ended up being. I think I started off with my hands roughly shoulder length apart, about shoulders apart. And like, as I started to progress, I got a lot wider until I was, the last 20 to 30, I'm going to fully admit, weren't really great push-ups, but I did them.
Hey,
that's the important part.
The wide arm push-ups or the officer push-ups. You just barely have to dip, and you're breaking the plane of your elbows and your spine, so it counts as a push-up entirely. But if you start out that way, you're fucked, man. You can't really go in from there. It's just like, I can't go out anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, so the smart way to do it is you knock out the first couple of them, and the best way to do them, because they still technically count as push-ups because you're breaking the plane, and you're bouncing your chest off the ground. Bounce your chest off the ground, use the momentum until your chest hurts, and then you widen out and you widen out and you widen out just to knock out the rest of them.
I will have to remember that the next time I ask for a random number from Destructobot 3000. However, I already know what I'm doing next time, and oh man, I'm probably going to get killed. But I'm actually taking a break from all exercises except for some lower, I'm just doing squats and weight assisted squats right now, just to keep, cardiovascular, or not cardiovascular. That's on my warm ups and stuff, but just to keep a little bit of movement going, so I'm not completely getting stale. But yeah, I'm literally I am so ginger with my left arm right now. It's not fun. But thinking back, it was just one of those, I pride myself on being a fairly intelligent person. And then I do something really stupid like that, and I look in the mirror and I go, are you really that smart? Really? You don't seem to be that smart because you just did something really stupid. Well, anyways, on to the next segment, State O Games. State of Games is where we talk about what we've been playing for the past week, or we pontificate on how we feel gaming is just in general today. And say, Damok, why don't you go ahead? What do you got?
No, I'm going to go ahead and roll this right back over to you, because all you said was you were drinking water and lemonade and Crystal Light lemonade, so it's not even real lemonade, it's fucking just piss from the poorest village in Ethiopia. But yeah, I'm going to roll it over to you, man. Let's see if you can redeem yourself by some games.
So I have, except for the game that I started playing tonight for like the 30 minutes before the show, because I saw it was free it's free weekend for Fallout 76. So a bunch of people have been playing it. A bunch of people I know had played it and said it was, it was buggy, but it was okay. I'm a huge Fallout fan from the original one that came out in 94 or 95, the isometric view. I was even following all the way through Van Buren, where I was like really excited. So when Bethesda picked it up and made Fallout 3, of course I dove right into that like a kid in a candy store. But I played for about 30 minutes of that. I also was playing, and I'm not even going to try to name it. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to enunciate it correctly for me. It's a fun little tile game. Donka Monk Funky something. I can't even say it.
Dorformantic?
I'm going to go with that. Dorformantic. It's a fun little tile game. Damok actually turned me on to it. He found it when going through something on Steam and just found this cutesy little game. Which I thought I was like, well, I could go for a nice old chill game. And it's a little puzzler. It's, you've got, I think are they pentagons? Sectagons? What are they?
Hexagons, maybe?
Are they hexagons? They have 8 sides?
You're going to make me fire up the game. I think it's 8 sides.
It's all good. So you've got a generic shape that looks kind of like a hexagon.
No, 6. It's 6
and you've
sides.
Got a different, basically you got to connect the edges. And you connect the edges to make, like forests or towns or roads or rivers or, whatever. You make whatever those things are. And as you start building out and you build out and you build out, you get like quests that each one of them have to do. And, sometimes you have to have 6 gold places, or you have to have, 8 railroads or something like that. And as you do that, you get more tiles that you can drop out. And the more tiles you get, the more points you can get, the more combos you get, the more points you get, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you unlock different biomes and different pieces. And it just it's a fun little puzzler that is a really, really chill, relaxed game. I want to say it's made by the same people who made Snowpedia.
I don't know. I thought it was, it could be made by the same people. I thought it was relatively new by a new studio, but I could be wrong.
I got to double check it. Maybe it was just one of those where it says like Snowpedia. Maybe that was it. Maybe it just came up on my feed as like this game. So it, but now I'm firing up Steam.
Now I'm Googling.
Yeah,
right. I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I guess everybody's just going to sit here hanging while we're doing this. Discussion.
Dorfromantic?
Dorfromantic. Yeah.
Yeah, Dwarf Romantic.
All right, where's the store page?
Tucana Studio? And they only have this game.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? It may have come up in my feed as like Snowpedia. That's why.
Yeah, let's see. It's Tucana Interactive.
Yep, that's the only game that they have. Well, it's a fun, as I said, it's a fun puzzler. They have it marked here as a city builder, but I think this is more of a puzzle game than a city builder.
From the videos that I've watched of it, it absolutely is going to transform into the city builder. The tiles won't be as crazy right now, or maybe they still will be. I don't know. Dude, the game is fun as fuck.
Yeah, it is. It's really just it's silly fun. It's just relaxing. It's not. There's not like any competitiveness about it. I mean, there is, because you're getting points and then you start posting them in Discord, and then somebody's talking about not getting 10K, and you're like, as soon as I get out of work, I'm going to start playing this and break 10K before them. And then they're like, hey, I broke 10K. And I'm like, holy fuck, aren't you supposed to be working? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's government, I forgot. Anywho.
Yeah, I'm not government, but it's all good. I can take a 30-minute break.
Yeah, that's what I did. I actually just I have an hour-long break for lunch from where I work, so I get the opportunity to play a whole bunch of stuff. What else have I been playing? No, it actually works out pretty well. I mean, you still so you have 7.5 hour days, and an hour for lunch, but you're still there. You're there for 8.5 hours, if that makes any sense. So it's like you work for 7.5 hours and you have an hour lunch, but you're still there. Like, you can't just bail out at 7.5 hours. You got to be there for your shift. What else have I been playing?
Yeah.
I played some Battlefront 2. the old school, like 2005 Battlefront 2 with Vintage on his birthday earlier this week. I just finished the new XCOM Enemy Unknown game. I gotta do Enemy Within now and see how that goes. I was playing it's an interesting game called Her Story. So it's basically like you're at a crime investigation lab and you've got a bunch of interviews that you're watching and you've got to search keywords, and the keywords will bring up videos of this woman giving interviews. And as you watch the interviews, you have to unravel what happened. What is she the murderer? Is she not a murderer? Who's the murderer? You basically have to unravel what happens throughout this game. But it's all done through, you do word searches and they give you videos that you then watch these little video clips and then discern what happened from there. When I watched the original trailer, it reminded me of the shape-shifting detective, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cute. Let me try it out. Completely different. Live action video like the shape-shifting detective, but not like the shape-shifting detective in any way, shape, or form there. And the last thing
overall, how is it? I have seen that before, and I've looked at it, and I'm like, but when they start adding live action video stuff, it reminds me too much of the old, like, SWAT video games back in the 90s. How is it with the live action video?
So the live action isn't bad. Her acting is actually okay by comparative, especially compared to like those SWAT games. The acting is actually good compared to those. There's really the gameplay in it, it's not a traditional, I'm using my mouse and keyboard to do something in the game. You really are just searching different keywords and then watching the videos, discerning different words that she says in the videos to search more videos. So basically it's like the old Miss style in that sense, where you had to keep a pad and pen next to you and you jot down, oh shit, she said this, like in the one video, what you of course search, the first word you search is automatically put in for you, murder. And when you search murder, you get 4 videos. And in the videos, she's talking about different things like, why am I here? All this stuff. Then she'll start saying keywords, and you got to jot down those keywords. And when you search those keywords, you get more videos. The problem is that the number of videos you get are limited. So if you use a keyword that has 17 videos, they only give you 4 or 5 videos out of that you can watch. And they're the first videos, however it organizes them. But you watch these little clips, and usually they're anywhere from 5 seconds to 30 seconds long. And you watch these little clips to try to get more information about what happens. It's interesting. It's if you like it's a puzzle game in the sense, but if you like those kind of whodunit or figuring out games, okay, what actually happened here? It's an interesting little game in that sense. I would put it probably worth about the $5 to $10 range if it's, I don't even know how much it actually costs on Steam. I got it so long ago. But if it's more than that $5, $10 range, I wouldn't bother picking it up. If Steam has one of its deep cut sales and it's $1.99, definitely go pick it up. It's a good little time killer, but it's not, it's not an action. It's not adventure. It's really more of a puzzle solving game.
Okay. It's listed on Steam for $9.99 right now.
Yeah. And that'd be about where I'd put it. As I said, the $5 to $10 range. The last game I played, which I actually played a bunch this week, which is surprising since I haven't been playing all that much lately. It was a game called A Way Out. I also played that with Vintage. I played it last night for about an hour. It's an interesting game. It strongly reminds me of those interaction fiction games that I talk about that I always like. Until Dawn, Man of Medan, and those are the only two I can think of right now.
There is no game.
There is no, yeah, but that was more of a puzzle game. This is more of a kind of interactive story game. You start off, you're in jail. One of you plays one guy, one of you plays another guy. One of the guys just gets there, and basically it's the whole the whole scene unfolding of how this dude's trying to break out. And it seems to be playing out in flashbacks because you're on a plane and you're both talking and you keep talking about things that happened. And then you play through a scene that I'm assuming connects to it. It's an interesting game, co-op, interesting perspective too, because you actually see both people's screens on the screen simultaneously. So on the right-hand side, you have your screen, and on the left-hand side, you have their screen. And so when they're moving around and talking, you hear what they're talking about. So it's like, God, there was an old show about two convicts breaking out, and it had a similar cinematic style, and I can't remember the name of the show. But if you're listening and you remember the name of the show, and I don't remember it by the end of this episode, write in and tell me it, because I don't remember what the hell it is. But there we go. Hopefully that redeemed myself a little bit from drinking this Crystal Light. What are you playing? Yeah. What is your state of games?
Well, we've already mentioned it before. I've played the Dorfromantik. I started playing that after Steam randomly suggested it to me, and I was like, wait a minute, it's a slow-paced, kind of go at your own time building game with tiles? Oh yeah, been loving the shit out of that, dude. My high score is 11,580, and I'm so fucking happy because, yeah, I don't think I'll ever beat that. I totally do.
8,200, I think, is my top right now.
And, and I did a bunch of the rewards because I've played more than 5 games getting over 5,000. So I keep trying to go for those little reward things in the top right-hand side. But yeah, I finally broke the 10,000 mark and got the reward for that. Now I need to do a game where I place 5,000 tiles total. I'm like, oh, man. I don't know how I'm going to do that.
You have to do that in one game, or is it 5,000 total throughout the different games?
I don't know. I have to actually read the little fine text.
I think it's 5,000 total. I don't think it's 5,000 in a single game, because I had the same, because I have mine that's been building up. It was like 100, then 500, then 1,000, and now I think I'm still at 1,000. I haven't completed 1,000 yet.
Yeah, I think the first marker's at like you place 2,000 tiles, and the next one's like 5,000 tiles. I'm like, oh shit, man. But as long as it's cumulative over the games, then it won't be so bad. Yeah. Aside from that, like, it's a great game. It's $8. It's $7.99 right now on Steam. It is still early access, across the board. But from what I've seen already, I'm super fucking excited, man. I'm so happy that I took a chance on it and bought it. But aside from that, I've been playing Resident Evil Village. And I don't know how I feel about that game. I'm not a horror game fan. Everybody kind of knows this. The last Resident Evil game that I played from start to finish was Resident Evil 4, and I loved it on the GameCube. I absolutely loved it. Played it so much that I went for 100% completion so that I can go to that little store and I can get all the accessories for my weapons. I had fucking the Tommy gun unlocked, the RPG. I had everything. I loved that game. I've never really played a Resident Evil after that. I did play on the original Sega Saturn. I played the original Resident Evil, but supposedly it was different from the PlayStation version. And
did you play the original Resident Evil or Code Veronica?
Because the original.
Because I don't. You know what? I'm going to believe you, but I just remember the one big thing about the Saturn was that Resident Evil Code Veronica came out, and it had a very different. It was a very different game from what came out for PlayStation. I think PlayStation 2 got Code Veronica, and it was very different from what you got on PlayStation 2. Because the original Resident Evil came out for PlayStation. That's why when you said Saturn, I was like, was it Code Veronica? Because there was a re-release of Resident Evil on the GameCube. They did Resident Evil 0, and then they did a Resident Evil remake.
Well, now I gotta look it up because, no, it came out on PlayStation. The original came out on PlayStation and Sega Saturn.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, because I only played the original, and then everybody was telling me there's that shotgun in that, oh man, you go into that fucking room with the fireplace and you grab the shotgun off the mantle, and when you try and exit, that fucking, the ceiling starts to come down. And apparently in the PlayStation version, like, Barry or somebody's supposed to jump in and like save you, but on the Sega version he doesn't. Or it could be that I didn't unlock what I needed to unlock at the fucking time. But yeah, I did look it up. In March 22nd, 1996, it came out on PlayStation, Microsoft Windows, Sega Saturn.
When did Veronica come out, and did that come out on the Saturn?
You're making me look shit up. Resident Evil Code Veronica was PlayStation 2 Dreamcast. Not Sega Saturn.
Okay, that was it then. Because I remember... God, you know what? I don't remember the Sega... I guess, you know what? I wasn't involved enough with the Sega Saturn to have known. But yeah, I remember Resident Evil, and that game was silly fun. And I remember when Resident Evil Director's Cut came out, I was all excited about getting that opening... the opening FMV, you know, with a really, really bad acting. Supposedly we were going to get the full version of that, but at the last second they cut it so that you only got the original version that came out with the PlayStation. So the whole game they changed around, and all they did for the director's cut, and I do an air quote, was they changed around the placement of things. It was like it was kind of like those ROMs where they just completely move all the stuff around in Zelda, and you just got to go and pick the stuff up in random locations. It was like that, only it was Resident Evil. It was really disappointing. It wasn't until the Resident Evil remake came out where all those scratch my head things of like, well, why is what there should be something here. There's nothing here, but there's just the way the map is designed. It looks like there's supposed to be something here, and there never was. But when they did the Resident Evil remake, they had all those things, and I'm like, that's what was supposed to be there. I knew there was supposed to be something there. Like the
okay, so looking at it, right, the original Resident Evil came out in 1996, right? And it was only on PlayStation, and then in April of 1997, Resident Evil came out for the Sega Saturn.
That's okay.
Yeah, so it was a year later, but it did come out. And then you're looking at Veronica. Veronica launched on the Dreamcast in 2000 and then went to PlayStation after that. But it was Sega Dreamcast that got Veronica first.
Yeah.
But the Sega Saturn got the original Resident Evil a year after it had launched on PlayStation.
Yeah, and supposedly Veronica was way different, and I say different, way better on the Dreamcast than it was for the PlayStation. I only ever played it on PlayStation, so...
I mean, let's be honest, the Dreamcast was a better system across the board. It was just that Sega fucked up a lot and did not really take advantage of everything they put in that console.
It really was such a great machine, and it just, if they had done better with just across the board with that console, Sega would be the people we're talking about now instead of Sony.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Sony had money to throw at the PlayStation, but Sega was the name. That's why I had the Saturn instead of the PlayStation, because I was like, Sony's making a fucking entertainment console? Like, nah, I'm going to go with Sega because the Genesis was amazing. The fucking Sega CD was amazing. Yeah, I'm going to stay with Sega.
I went with the PlayStation. I said I went with the PlayStation. I convinced my brother to get a PlayStation or to ask for it. Because when I was reading about it, I had read that, and at the time it was rumors that I read, and I was just like, oh no, if this is anywhere near the mark, it's gotta be, because I was a Nintendo guy. We had the original Nintendo, and I had a Super Nintendo, and I played so many games for the Super Nintendo. Now, I will admit the Genesis had really great games, but I feel that there were more good games on the Super Nintendo than there was for Genesis. That's not to say that that's not me saying that, it's not, it's just I had more exposure to the Super Nintendo. So that's where I had a majority of my experience with. But like Phantasy
You're
Star,
comparing two great consoles, the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Regardless of which route you took, you had a wonderful time. They were two great consoles at the time.
They really were. There were so many great games. Like there were some cast. I think there was at least one. I think it was Bloodlines, or Rondeo of Blood. It was one of the Castlevanias that came out for the Genesis. That was just fantastic. Phantasy Stars. I mean, how can you go wrong there? And honestly, I still to this day. Okay, let's see if you remember it. Did you ever play Mortal Kombat for the Genesis?
Yes, of course I did.
Do you remember the blood code?
Not off the top of my head, no. I remember because I've never owned a Super Nintendo or a Genesis. My family was a little bit more poor at the time, and I had to go to friends' houses to play.
So I never owned a Genesis. All my two of my friends owned Genesis, and I didn't. I had a Super Nintendo. But I still remember the Mortal Kombat blood code. And it's the wildest thing because it's like the Konami code. You just, for some reason, I don't forget it. But the Mortal Kombat code is ABACABB. And it's just one of those weird things that I always remember.
That's right. Yeah, because it had a C button in there.
The Genesis had a C button.
I was like, okay, because it has 6 buttons. Yeah. No, that was... Damn, dude. I remember playing it. I remember punching in the code, but we had a notepad with the shit written down so that we could do the fatalities and all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Do you remember Time Killers?
Yes.
Dude.
Yes, I do.
That game and not the PlayStation Time Killers. I'm talking about the Genesis era Time Killers. It was an arcade game, and I think it came to Genesis or Sega CD, one of the two. But it was a 2D side scroller, but it was, in my opinion, better than Mortal Kombat because you could literally dismember your opponent during the match.
We talked about this a couple times, and I remember it, but I don't remember it being as I think Mortal Kombat was more popular overall when I was playing.
Way more popular. Mortal Kombat was way more popular because it looked like real people fighting, because of the sprites that they used. It looked much more like real people fighting versus Time Killers, which they looked like cartoon characters fighting. But there's nothing more satisfying than to open up and start a match and just start a special move and just catch it perfectly right as they move and just lobbing their head right off in the first couple seconds of the match.
I really wish that Mortal Kombat would take from, Time Killers, because I played the new Mortal Kombat. I've played Mortal Kombat 10 and Mortal Kombat 11, and they have these great, wonderful moves, but when it goes to that X-ray vision and I see my person literally break all the bones in the opponent's shoulder entirely and puncture his lung on his left side, I want to see him not be able to use his left side for the rest of the fight. Puts his arm across his stomach and is like, okay, I can only do so much. That would be fucking amazing. And that would be reminiscent of Time Killers to me.
Yeah, I would love to see that kind of... and that's one of the reasons why I think I've always liked the Mech Warrior line. Because it's one of those, when you do enough damage to whatever limb that you're shooting at, they can't use that limb. It's just, I've always enjoyed that persistent damage type of thing.
But Resident Evil Village, let's say it's definitely, it builds itself on an open world type thing. It is very much on rails. But that's always been the Resident Evil games. That's not a disappointment to me at all whatsoever. The environment at first is very it's a Resident Evil game / Silent Hill-ish. I understand what's going on. The pop-up scares, it's very, very predictable at first. The further I got into it, the more I went, wait, what? That's not, how the fuck are they gonna do that? Oh, that bitch is supposed to be walking around this area just randomly stalking me, waiting for me, and I need to fucking juke her to get around shit and do stuff, because I'm sitting here hiding in a room going, wait a minute, man, I gotta backtrack and mentally think about, am I screwing something up? Do I have to fight her? Do I have to fight this? What do I have to do here? No, you're just supposed to run around because they're just gonna stalk you no matter what. And there's really, really good puzzle solving stuff in there that I was very happy and very excited to see, that stumped me for a while, that I almost looked up a guide and I was like, oh, I can't understand how to get past the part. And yeah, examine your items, and when it gives you the option to rotate and truly examine, rotate and truly examine. Yeah. But it is a really good game so far. The beginning was very slow to get going. It's a game on tracks, and it's a really good game across the board. Once it gets past that first big boss area, it really opens up into some like, oh, now it's really creepy to fucking play. So now I'm kind of on nerve, and I'm playing the game, and then I got Selkie in the background, and she's playing the game in the living room on the PlayStation, and all I hear is fuck, and I jump, and I'm like, oh, I wasted one of my precious shotgun shells.
Oh yeah, and you find out that it's just like every other Resident Evil game, every other survival horror game, ammo is a premium. And unless you've got it cranked down to the easiest level, ammo is, even on the easiest level, ammo is one of those things of, oh man, I need more ammo.
Yeah, what I do like about this one is they give you blueprints for ammo. So as you're going around, you can pick up all the shit that you need. You find, plenty of gunpowder, plenty of parts, some mechanical scrap and all that. So you make your own ammo, and which is much, much cheaper than buying it from the vendor.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Resident Evils. I gotta say 5, and people are gonna probably chastise me for this. 4, 5, and 6 really weren't my cup of tea. I think they went much farther into an action game than they did a survival horror game. One of the things, and 7 and 8, I believe, did it better. But one of the things that I really loved about the original games was their use of static cameras. And for a lot of people, this is the most annoying thing in the world. But I think you can really set a scene with a static camera better than you can, a full 360 view where you're looking over your shoulder or something. But I will say, with Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, they did nail that ability, because they've gone from making levels. I'll use that term, making levels, to making a world. The atmosphere of everything around you in 7 and 8 is just so much more terrifying than pretty much anything in 4, 5, or 6, in my opinion. Like 4 was a little bit more spooky. I would say out of 4, 5, and 6, 4 was definitely the best of those. 5 and 6 were really just action games. And they really, I think they just started jumping down that line of trying to make cooperative multiplayer games. Like they were trying to get on that multiplayer bandwagon, and it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the games. I played them. I had fun with them, but they didn't feel like a Resident Evil game to me. They felt much more like I was playing an action game.
I can see that. I didn't play 5 or 6. I also didn't play 2 or 3 or Veronica. I played the original on Sega Saturn, and I never got very far in it. It was a good game, but I'm going to tell you right now, when it came out, it scared the fuck out of me, especially that first scene when you meet the zombie and it's hunched over and it's that video clip and and then you have that static fucking camera that you're talking about, and you're swinging wildly trying to line up your fucking gunfire and backing down the hallway so it doesn't eat you. Yeah, that was great. I loved the first game. I never got far enough I did watch a couple of my friends play it on PlayStation, and they got almost towards the end. But yeah, the only other game I've played of Resident Evil, while I have seen 2 and 3, I've seen 4, 5, and 6, I've played 4 all the way through, and I don't know how I loved the tank controls, but I think we didn't have any other options at the time, so I dealt with it. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 is my favorite personally because it's the only one I've beat all the way through. But yeah, I went back, I purchased it on Steam like a month ago, installed it and tried to play it and went, oh no, it's tank controls. I don't think I can actually play this. So I wasted $30 on a game that I probably won't ever play, sadly, unless there's a mod to open up the controls to make it better. But yeah, I liked 4. And I think that it held the creepy suspense across the way. And I think when I was watching Resident Evil 7, it reminded me a lot of Resident Evil 4. So I've seen a whole playthrough of Resident Evil 7 because, and then I'm now playing Village, and it's very, very similar. I think what Resident Evil 4 was in Spain or Italy or something like that, and now Resident Evil Village takes place someplace in Europe, and yeah, it's very reminiscent. I think 4 really opened up the franchise to that, but again, I didn't play 2 or 3, so I could be talking out my ass, and that's the only thing I know.
No, I agree. I think 4 actually brought Resident Evil forward, and I think without 4, we would not have Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, or Resident Evil Village. Because I think 4, 5, and 6 had to happen. It's just they started deviating so hardcore, and I think they were just trying to follow the fans. But then all of a sudden, the fans realized we don't really like this. It's
that fucking playtest trailer that everybody wanted to see. Like, oh no, that's the game we want, and Resident Evil is the closest you're going to get to it.
Mm-hmm. Now I got to ask a question. In the first Resident Evil, you talk about that the original zombie ripping off Kenneth's head. Did you play through the spot where you first meet the dogs?
Oh, yeah, and they're in the damn hallway and they chase you down? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got that far. I never got the shotgun in the game. I got all the way through the main-ish area, and I could never figure out how to get the shotgun, and I was lost without the shotgun because I could not get through the guarding gate or something without it, and dude, it's been so long. I remember sitting on I had a waterbed, man. I would be sitting on my waterbed playing the original Resident Evil, like, just okay, but it has to be in daylight because I'm not playing this game at night because it's scary as fuck. Even though it's like cheesy as fuck, it was still scary. I don't give a shit. And that's what I like about the original Resident Evil movie. I don't like any of the follow-ups. I think the original captured everything from the game, and it didn't follow the game entirely. Fine, whatever the fuck, I don't care. I really had a good job with really great job with the movie overall. It felt like playing the original game. It was suspenseful. The music, the score was right. The scenes were right.
It was claustrophobic.
Yeah. Yes, it was very claustrophobic.
Yeah, because that was the one thing I really enjoyed about the first game was that it gave you that tight claustrophobic feel. Even when you're in, like you'd get a reprieve when you got into that main hallway and it's big, it's huge, and you're like, oh, okay, I can sit here for a second. It's okay. I can sit here calmly. Nothing's going to get me. But then you go into the hallways and it tightens it right down again. And that was one of the things that, again, I think the like 4, 5, and 6, they started breaking out of that claustrophobia and like kind of opened it up. And that's the part that that's where I think they lost me. It was like Silent Hill. Silent Hill just kept that claustrophobic feel and kept that angst going. But yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I will say, playing Resident Evil 8, it reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 4, where yes, I understand what you're saying, where they took away a lot of the claustrophobic. It's still very much on a track. Mm-hmm. So it still has it's the illusion that it's open, but when enemies are attacking you, you're definitely funneling them through a certain way. So 8 is supposedly more open world, but honestly, because shit can fly and blah, 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 yeah, they can come from the skies, but you can filter them through a fatal funnel, and it still does feel claustrophobic. And especially, they captured the original Resident Evil. And I'm not trying to ruin anything, because I know you haven't played it. Everybody knows you go into a mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so... yeah, that mansion is claustrophobic as shit, and that had my heart racing. I play games sitting back like this. I was playing Resident Evil right up with my fucking nose in the screen, like, okay, I gotta get past this shit. I don't know where it's gonna be. I was having a good time, and I haven't had a game like that in quite a while. So, if you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. I bought the deluxe edition so that I can have the little fucking doohickeys on my weapons because, you know, I'm an asshole, so it is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, I've been playing Resident Evil Village because Selkie was playing it, and yeah, dude, it's a good fucking game.
Yeah, Capcom deserves money on that one. I agree. Did you get a cat rubbing up against you in a tense scene yet?
There's a cat that rubs against me?
No, like you're sitting there playing and all of a sudden an actual cat comes up and like rubs on your leg, makes you shit your pants.
Oh, fuck me, dude. I was in a chase scene, which the game has plenty from the beginning, right? You're being chased a lot in this game. I was in a chase scene and I am nose up to the monitor, just like sweating. I got the volume up and everything sounds great. And then I hear the door slam behind me. And I could have sworn that it was a door in the mansion, but I felt the gust of wind behind me. I smacked the whole fucking keyboard, just fumbling for the escape key. And I didn't yell at Selkie, but I was like, "Oh my god, you scared the fuck out of me!" Like, yeah. So the cats have not rubbed on me while I'm playing the game yet. I'm not playing that game when it's dark. I know a little bit better than that. I'm not a big horror game fan to begin with, because I'll be like, son of a bitch, and I'll think about it all night. But yeah, I have had some good scares where I'm just like, yeah. And the worst part is when I'm playing and she's playing in the living room, I'll be like, I'll get to a situation that's really tense, and she'll be like, God fucking damn it. And I'll be like, oh shit, what do you mean? Like, and she's like, yeah, this fucking thing, this thing eats me all the time. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm trying to play it too. Hold on, I gotta turn up my volume. It's a bad idea.
Well, if these two gave you any enjoyment, you should check out the Resident Evil 2 remake. Capcom did a fantastic job on recreating that, but with modern controls, much more modern graphics, and really they did a good job on that game. It's not first person, it is third person, but they do a good job with it.
Well, I think it's not an exact true remake, but they did a very good job. Even I dabbled in it a little bit, only because of how well they did with it and how well the fanfare was like, no, this is so damn true to the original. So I own it, and I've only played like 10 minutes of it.
Oh, well, you should definitely go back and give it another shot, because it gives you that claustrophobic feel, with that chase where something's chasing you around as well. And they changed enough of it to make it feel fresh, but they kept enough of it to make it feel true. It's an old enough game now that I think if you haven't played it and you're listening to this podcast, then you either A, don't like Resident Evil games, or B, have been living under a rock for the past, 3 decades. But yeah, check it out.
Let's be fair. This is early 90s that Resident Evil started coming out. So
true. Very true. Well, all right. We actually have some topics tonight, if you can believe it, other than Resident Evil. And this is pretty much just a tech time with Damok. That's all this is.
I don't know about that one.
So the first thing that came up was not too long ago, they released information, and I think it was June 6th was its release date. I might be wrong. but I think that was when it was supposed to be coming out. But they released the GeForce RTX 3080 Ti, their new flagship card. Which, if you're listening to this and you've got one, you are awesome. Congratulations to you. Hopefully, you did not pay the $2,000 markup that scalpers have been putting out there. Hopefully, you got it for MSRP. Chances are you didn't, but if you did, bravo, sir or ma'am. Good on you.
Wait, what's that MSRP? $1,300? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the worst part. Is that the is it 1,300 or is what's?
Or is it 1,200 or 1,300? It's one of those.
It's 1,200. MSRP for the Ti was 1,200, and I went out and of course I searched for one, and the lowest I could find it priced at was $3,099. And I looked at it and I went, I can build a pretty bitchin' whole computer for $3,100.
Not right now, you can't.
Well, I could. In fact, the machine I'm working on now, I don't think cost me that much. I think the machine I'm working on now cost me like $2,100. And that was with a 1080 Ti.
You have the time to wait. Yeah, but that's if you have the time to wait right now, because getting a processor is, well, okay. I will say that you can buy Intel. Intel has plenty of stock because Intel processors are absolute shit now. And AMD is selling out. They have all the stock watches, and they're like, technically you get 9 more frames with the Intel processor, but they're like, you can do more with the AMD processor. And so now you can't get an AMD processor, which is the one that you want. RAM prices are through the fucking roof.
Oh, God.
And yeah, just absolutely fucking ridiculous at this point in time. Oh, and good luck finding a motherboard, because every fucking goddamn person decided, hey, we're going to cut down on these people buying our graphics cards with bots if we bundle our motherboards with the graphics cards and the RAM. So now you're overpaying for the bundle to begin with, but now you're also competing with the bot, so you can't get a good motherboard, you can't get a good CPU, RAM prices, you can buy RAM for 3 times the amount it's worth, and you can't get a graphics card.
Yeah, which is so frustrating, because when you just want to put a machine together and you're like, all right, I want to put something together, I want to hit 60 frames. I just want to hit 60 frames in the current games, and that shouldn't be that hard to do. But holy hell. But the 3080 Ti, it's coming out with 12 gigabytes of onboard RAM, a stupid clock speed. I'm trying to find where, of course, I should have written this down versus trying to scroll through the website now to look for it, but it had a stupid amount of CUDA cores. Like, this thing's a beast. Like, it just, hands down, the 3080 Ti, it's a friggin' beast.
The 3080 is a beast to begin with. To slap on the Ti is absolutely going to make it significant. We knew the Ti was coming. It's really hard to say, though, but at this point in time, shame on you, NVIDIA. Shame on you. You can't get enough 3060s, 3070s, and 3080s into the hands of gamers because you cannot produce them and keep up with the fucking demand with your supply, and you're going to halt your manufacturing of those 3 cards to switch to your 9 factories to produce the 3080 Ti because you put it at a fucking $1,200 price tag and you know people are going to buy it for significant amounts more. Shame on you, NVIDIA. Fuck you, I won't buy your card.
I know, it is a shame, and I've actually been looking at the AMD cards, but they're even hard to find there. Like
right, you can't find AMD cards either, but AMD has already said they're not going to launch a new revision of their card. We already know that everybody keeps touting there's a shortage, right? They can't keep up with supply because the demand is through the fucking roof right now. Which, okay, COVID has done a lot of that, but now we're coming towards, at least in the United States, we're coming towards the tail end of COVID, and hopefully the rest of the world is, curtailing it with us. But to launch a new graphics card when everybody else, like, okay, so look at Sony. Sony's about to launch a new PlayStation 5, and they're calling it the PlayStation 5 Plus already. It may have some upgraded hardware, but they're trying to slim it down so that they can reduce manufacturing time and just get it out there in mass. And that's what Sony's been advertising. They're not trying to make it better than the original PlayStation 5. They're trying to shrink it down so they can actually make more of them and get it out there. For Nvidia to be like, oh yeah, by the way, you know, our cards are okay, but we're going to launch the biggest, greatest card, but yeah, no one's going to be able to buy it for MSRP.
No. Now, see, here's my question now, and this is just as you were talking, it made me think. The demand, I mean, not to say that there isn't a demand out there. I fully agree with that. But do you think that the demand is a bit artificially inflated because of all the bots that are buying up these cards so that people can't get their hands on the cards? So it's giving a greater demand than what is actually there if the cards got into the hands of the customers in the first place?
Absolutely. There is zero doubt in my mind that the demand is absolutely artificial. I understand that the supply is lower because of COVID, right? And everything like that. And I understand that. But the demand on it has... The discussion about computers and PCs becoming more mainstream due to COVID, a lot, like the PC industry experienced a giant boom with a big shortage of supplies. You know, less workers, they're pumping out less shit. More people are buying PCs from home. And that was the crazy articles that were coming up going, wow, the PC industry, people are buying and buying and buying. And there are more home PCs now than there ever have been. You have the broadband initiatives. Trump tried to do a broadband initiative. Biden's doing a big broadband. He wants it to every home because everybody now has computers because of the pandemic type deal. Elon Musk is launching the Starlink for half price, but that may have only been a 1 week deal type special. They're all trying to get in there and get it done because more people have computers in the household. As far as high-end gaming computers, like a $1,200 graphics card or even an $800 graphics card is absolutely artificially inflated because that's not the market. It's never been the market. The $400 to $600 graphics cards, at $600 being the high end for people, has always been the market.
Yeah, and when the whole bit mining or cryptocurrency mining thing inflated them, even started that whole big inflation, and then the pandemic rolls around, those bots are just gobbling them up. It's painfully sad that there are so many people out there like this boom for PCs could be literally a revolution for PC gaming in general, and not enough people can really get their hands on stuff. Now, the one thing I will say is there are things like Shadow Play and GeForce Now that can kind of supplement that, but that interest would have really had to have started years ago for it to really be a proper supplement for what's going on now. I just don't think that enough people either A, know about it, the technology is mature enough, or maybe a combination of the above, or some other things I'm not even thinking of. But there's just there was a great opportunity for, and it still may come. It just might be delayed, and that's probably what it is. It's probably just delayed anything else. But there could have been a huge, kind of uprising with PC gaming in general. Actually speaking of that, because I was just thinking of consoles while I was making that whole spiel. Consoles really have come a long way, with the latest release of the generations. And one thing I'm actually super excited about is something I've been reading across the board of crossplay. And a lot of companies are developing and pushing for crossplay. And companies like Sony, who have always been real poo-poo on it, are starting to pull back and say, you know what? This is what the customers are asking for, and I think we got to finally do this because we're losing people, and they are. There are genuinely people who have shifted over to Xbox from PlayStation. That's because they shifted over because they have friends that have PCs and they can't play with them.
It was a very, very smart move on Microsoft's part to make the Xbox completely compatible with Windows 10 so that you can game together no matter what the game is. It doesn't differentiate. I can't even talk to. I've been differentiate. Right? It doesn't differentiate between, I'm playing on Xbox X, S, whatever the fuck, or Windows 10. It just says, it's this game and it's connected to the Microsoft Store. Done and done, let's play.
Yeah, they're Play Anywhere thing.
I don't think there's... Yeah.
Yeah, it really was a smart move. And when they did it, they did the Ultimate Game Pass. It was like, that was all kind of around the same time. And really, I gotta give, I've always been a Sony fanboy. Everybody who knows me know it. I've been back in PlayStation. I've owned Xboxes, but I've always gone with PlayStation first. This console era, I actually think the first one I'm going to be focusing on, and not just because of the supply demand thing, that's just been crazy, but I think I might actually focus on getting an Xbox this time around, only because you really have more opportunity to play with more people. And Sony's been opening up a little bit more, which has been nice.
See, I think Microsoft did a wonderful, wonderful thing, but for me, they shot themselves in the foot in a certain way. I now have a PlayStation 5, and I did not want a PlayStation 5. I wanted to get the new Xbox. I was very gung-ho about the new Xbox. But then reading more and more and more about it, I already have I don't have a high-end PC, but I have a decent gaming rig and all of that. Well, all the Xbox games are on PC. So now I have Xbox's library on my PC. The kids aren't super interested in the shit that's on Xbox. They're going to play the games with their friends anyways, and they were more interested in the PlayStation games because they had a lot more of that fucking backwards compatibility, all those PlayStation 4 games that they were really interested in that look amazing on PlayStation 5. When I bought it, I now, I have, obviously there are so many Windows fucking 10 computers in my house, laptops to desktops to all of that Microsoft gets its money off of me. But when it came to the console market, after taking a deep dive and a deep look into it, the PlayStation was the only way to go.
No, I do still like the PlayStation. But one of the big reasons why I think I'm probably still going to go with an Xbox is I loved, and they've only enhanced this feature since, but I loved when I got Sea of Thieves. I loved when I was able to go from, I'm playing Sea of Thieves at my house, at my Windows machine. I jump over, I go and visit a friend over at their house. I log into their Xbox with my account, and I'm playing Sea of Thieves exactly where I left off on their box at their house.
And that's what Sony needs to get on the fucking bandwagon with, man.
Yes.
I've been playing Warzone. I've bought so much on the PC and all of that. Let me log into my goddamn Warzone account on PlayStation so I get all my shit and I have all my guns unlocked and I can do my setup. Need for Speed. Let me play, because I played a shit ton of Need for Speed Heat on PC. Let me log into it over on the PlayStation console. Sony, man, yeah, I really, really wish that they did that. But you're right. That would be the one reason that I would go for an Xbox console overall. But in my household, PlayStation console for the TV, everybody has Windows 10 games here because there's enough computers for everybody.
No, that's honestly, for your setup, that is the best way to go. I cannot disagree. And honestly, if there's anybody else who played games in my house, I would almost hands down go with the PlayStation. But I'm really the only gamer in my house. Even Bot, she plays on her Switch a little bit. She's got a Windows PC that she plays a little bit with. Quick question. Speaking of PlayStation 5, have you done the remote play to your computer yet from your PlayStation?
No, I haven't even heard of that. I have no idea how to do that.
So you can actually download the remote play app from your, onto your computer. And you can actually fire up your PlayStation that's in your living room and play the PlayStation games from your desktop with a controller.
Okay. I spent $2,000 on a 65-inch OLED TV, right? I'm not playing PlayStation games. Yeah, I have a $700 monitor in front of me that was great 5 fucking years ago. It still works for me, but, you know.
I'm just asking if you've tried it. I'm not saying that it's the superior way to play. Just asking if you tried it.
No, actually, I did not know that Sony had that. I know that way back they had that PlayStation app for Windows 10, and I had been messing with it, and you could play games, and it was interesting overall. But no, I did not know that I could directly play the games from my PlayStation 5 hooked up directly on my computer. But honestly, I want to do it anyways, as I'm not the main user of the PlayStation 5. Well, I bought a nice TV to watch some TV and movies on, but I'm gonna be honest, hopefully Selkie doesn't actually listen to this episode because she's upstairs right now. I don't get to use that TV at all. The girls have completely taken it over.
Well, you know, I say this because not only can you remote play from your computer, the PlayStation 5, but they could also remote play to a computer, so that frees up the TV for you to, I don't know, watch stuff on. Just, you know, hey, I'm throwing that out there. I'm just gonna lob that over the fence. Just, you know, let's deal with that.
But yeah, it's not gonna be the same because they've hooked up. Wow, and I know that the Xbox console probably has the exact same features overall, but plugging headphones into the controller so that they can do that, and then they don't have to use the TV sound to do anything. Yep. Or now the PlayStation 5 is Bluetooth, so you can use the Bluetooth headphones, so you don't have to plug them in the controller. Flightless Artist had a very interesting experience, and now we all know where the mute button is on the PS5 controllers, and we know when it's muted and when it's not now. So all the controllers in the household are now muted, but she was playing a Call of Duty game, like Call of Duty Black Ops 3 or something, and I had no idea there was a built-in microphone to the controller. She had no idea there was a built-in microphone to the controller, and that little funny button, mutes it and unmutes it, and she's just going through talking all of this shit. Like some 12-year-old fucking boy, like, yeah, she's talking shit, like, this is fucking stupid. She's talking to people in the house, and like, she's like, man, why do these people keep referencing shit? Yeah, because it's a microphone that is built into the controllers. I don't know if PlayStation 4 had that, because I didn't have, well, so. We have them, but yeah.
It has a speaker in it. I know it had a speaker. I didn't know it had, I don't think it had a mic. That's awesome, though.
Dude, yeah, you don't have to get fucking extra hardware for the microphone. It's built in the damn controller. So she's talking shit, playing this game, and people are talking shit back to her, and she's so confused.
I can see that in my mind's eye. Well, if for some reason you do actually try that out, I'm just curious if they, if the input lag has increased, decreased, if it's noticeable to you. Just one of those curiosity things of, geez, if you have used it, I'm curious on how it works now with such a massively powerful machine compared to the PlayStation 4.
Okay, I will have to look into it, and then we can run a couple tests. I can try it over 5 gigahertz. I'll try it over the 2.4, but honestly, because it's PlayStation and their fucking store sucks, I have to use everything to download stuff. It's hardwired into my, I use Cat 6 cable directly into my fucking fiber line to
use Cat. Use Hardline. I'm curious. Give it the best effort you possibly, best setup that you possibly can. I'm just curious on how it plays and how it reacts, because you actually have the remote play feature where you can actually take your laptop, or, well, it used to be a Vita that you would use, but you could take your laptop away and actually remote in from outside of your network as well, as long as you port forward it over.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. That doesn't sound like it's a fucking safe idea in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, boy. Well, next article past NVIDIA, which I only think we're going to hit into 2 tonight, which kind of goes in the same vein of what we're talking about, really more remote play stuff. Just this thing that Zyber posted a while ago, actually, about little Raspberry Pi mini gaming PCs. And it was,
how do you feel about that? You're a Raspberry Pi owner. I'm a Raspberry Pi owner.
So I've actually used, I've got several Raspberry Pis. In fact, I've got, one that I've got geared up as a, with a touchscreen on it that I'm actually retrofitting as a, thermostat. I was going to actually use this to be my Steam Link, and I was just going to have it have a couple of buttons on it so that it would just have like some basic controls on it, and I would just tap it to turn on Steam Link onto the monitor that was connected to it. But I found that there was a limitation on driving two monitors off of this at the same time when one of them's a touchscreen. Really weird thing. Maybe they'll figure out drivers around it, but the issue was that I could only have one screen going simultaneously with the touchscreen drivers. I couldn't have both screens going. So I'm going to turn this into a smart thermostat and have its Wi-Fi, because it's got Wi-Fi in it, have it Wi-Fi connected, drill it and countersink it into the wall and have a plug go directly to it. So literally it'll just be sitting there and connected as my thermostat, and it'll just be kind of funky and cool that way. I've got another one here. Actually, I followed your lead and have a Pi hole over here. And I've actually used Raspberry Pis before at my workplace to make little terminals, little dumb terminals, really, just to be able to connect to another machine, fire up a remote connection, and do a bunch of stuff. I actually had one set up in a server room as a basically as a console. It was an IP console basically, and it would connect in and run. I could basically just, with a couple of clicks, boom, I'm into whatever server I'm running. And I was using Raritan dongles. It was actually a pretty sweet friggin' setup that I did. But I've used them for all sorts of things. So as a gaming PC, I was surprised it hadn't come earlier. And I think we had actually talked about this at one point in time, of literally being able to turn anything into a gaming PC with streaming gaming now, like with things like Stadia or NVIDIA GeForce Now.
Now, I don't think it was possible before the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, right? Because now we're on Raspberry Pi 4, but Raspberry Pi 1 and 2 and the original 3, I don't think could do the rendering of video fast enough.
The CPU architecture just didn't allow for it.
But now you're looking at, and especially the Raspberry Pi 4, it can decode 4K content and can be your own fucking Plex server if you slap a hard drive into it, and you can stream it to your 4K TV with zero hiccups. I have the Raspberry Pi. I set it up to do my Pi hole, then I wiped it, and then the kids want me to make a smart mirror out of it, but I'm not going to do that because, wow, it's awesome. I really, really want one, but at the same time, I got to do way too much work to get that going. So unfortunately, it's just kind of sitting there. I need to replace I'm lazy. Truth be told, I'm just fucking lazy. I need to replace the laptop that's my current Pi hole with an actual fucking Raspberry Pi to make the Pi hole. But yeah, I've just been too lazy to do it because it's working, and I'm like, it's effort to change things. But no, gaming on it, I know that when I was looking it up a year ago when Raspberry Pi 4 just came out, everybody was talking about, hey, this can be a legitimate substitute to a desktop PC as far as, using these apps, but you have to use like Office 365 or Google Docs or something like that. You can't run them directly off the Pi. You're going to run a big cloud environment overall, but it is absolutely capable of doing it. And yeah, turning it into a gaming PC, I only see that happening with GeForce Now, Stadia, that kind of stuff.
Super low-end games. Like, it would have to be super low-end games, if not utilizing GeForce Now or Stadia or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay, so if you're talking about maybe how Zyber would take it, Zyber would want to run ROMs across the board. right? And he wants to run the older games. Then yes, even the first or second or third Raspberry Pi will be able to do that just fine. It's a RetroPie.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. And that's fantastic. You can absolutely do that, and that would be fucking amazing, period. But
yeah,
as far as modern gaming, it's got to be through a third party.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a quick disclaimer, no, we do not support here at G.N.A. downloading illegal ROMs and using them for your own facilities. However, if you are legally able to use that ROM, making a RetroPie and using it to play your legal ROMs are absolutely fantastic because it really does a great job emulating. I've played on several RetroPies that people have had, including Zyber, and the emulation that they do, it nails it on there. It gives you so many great things and so many extra features that you would think they would build into games now, like save states and stuff like that. But I guess they just don't. I actually have seen it, now that I say that, I think I have seen it on some of the Nintendo Store games that you can download from them.
Yeah, the Switch has come a long way, and they've really embraced their own ROM type deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, and no, never condoning downloading illegal ROMs. That's why I mentioned Zyber specifically, because he owns every fucking game known to man. I've seen his damn closet of games, and his third closet, and his ninth closet full of fucking games. Yeah, he's on the up and up.
Between him and Microbrew, I mean, they probably have every game that was released before 1999. Yeah, it's pretty wild. No, but I mean, I agree. I think Alyssa is going with like a third party thing. But this guy, from what I'm looking at, he's running games like he had Grand Theft Auto, it looked like Vice City going on it, which I'm pretty sure is on PC now. I don't think.
Vice City's been on PC.
Yeah, I don't think he was emulating it, but it was a really cool little setup, and it's a cheap way to get a hold of to get a gaming system going. And the whole rig itself that he's got there is about the size of a Coke can. Like it's super, super tiny.
Now I did see, so I saw the article real quick, but I didn't see the video. He has a Linus Tech Tips sticker slapped on. That's an LTT sticker slapped on there. So I'm wondering if that's an actual Linus build, and somebody else was just, blah, 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 and I got this working on it, or if it's, somebody that just, I got this working, and I like Linus, by the way, here's a sticker.
It could be column A, a little bit of column B. But, who knows? No, it's pretty bitchin' to see people. I mean, I've seen some really weird builds of people like making suitcases into Xboxes and things like that, which I've always found were really cool, really fun. The Bourbon Barrel PC, I think, is probably my favorite.
That one's good. And I saved a 50 cal ammo can still upstairs, right, from back when I was in the Army, and I saw a build that somebody did, and they built a whole Plex server out of it, and it was just this portable Plex server, and it was made of a 50 caliber ammo can. You have to cut and drill this right, you have to buy a very specific motherboard, very specific graphics card, everything you had to buy, and it looked amazing, and that's all that I wanted to do for the longest time. But yeah, I've been sucked into stupid PC builds before, like, oh man, you can make it an aquarium with mineral oil. Oof. Then it cools everything. That is so awesome. I always wanted to do it, and as I started buying pieces to do it, I went, yeah, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, and then you've got your Suve water circulator thing there, pumping freezing cold water around because it's got to keep that mineral oil moving, otherwise it's not going to distribute the heat right.
Oh, dude, you see the radiators that are required to properly cool mineral oil?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is effective. It does work, but so does phase exchange, and you don't see me running out doing that anytime soon either. But
air's air.
Yeah. I mean, it works. I've always been a liquid cool person, but that's just because I think it looks cool. Not that I think it cools any better. I think it just looks cool.
And so that's the big thing. Now they're showing that air cooling is better than liquid cooling over temperature. But if you actually paid the time and the detail to snip the tubes, I like those really like straight tubes.
Yeah,
that like everybody does. You're like, oh, those look so fucking badass. Like, I don't care that it's 4 degrees hotter than if it was on air. It looks amazing. That's one that I'm like, yeah, it's in the middle of the living room so everybody can look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done some closed loops. I actually did one closed loop with 1/2-inch pipe. Like 1/2-inch pipe all the way across for everything. Even the water block on the CPU was 1/2-inch pipe going into it. That thing, I don't even remember the pumps I had on this thing, but I actually had to add a second pump because the one pump just couldn't, like, it physically could not move that much fluid fast enough. So I added a second pump in line to finally get the fluid moving. Cause you know, you get the little fluid flow indicator thing that you put in line and it just spins and lets you know that there's fluid actually moving. Well, I'm sitting there staring at that thing and it's just like barely turning. I put the second, and you know, my temperatures weren't any better than I had with air cooling at all. But then when I threw that second pump on there finally and the second radiator, all of a sudden, like, I couldn't get the thing to like get hot, like no matter what the hell I did, but it was pushing so much fluid, like an ungodly amount of fluid. I literally had a reservoir bigger than this friggin' cup for all the fluid because it would start going and the fluid level would go bloop and then boop, start working its way back up. And then as soon as I like would kick it in and you'd hear the radiator fan like really kick on, which would kick on the pump even more, bloop, bloop. And it was a funny thing to watch. Plus it was total asshole, all 100%, because I had it illuminated with black lights and it was blacklight reactive fluid and clear tubing. God, I felt like such a putz, but man, it looked cool.
Oh man, see, I've always loved the look of water cooling. It's fucking amazing. It's just not as efficient as it could be, unfortunately.
Nope.
But yeah, it looked amazing. And if I could actually sit down and do it, and if I had the time and the money and the effort to really pipe out everything and be like, okay, this is my build and it's not changing. I can never add to this build because it fucks everything up. But
and you're also never lifting that case again, because once you put the fluid in there, that thing goes to like 150 pounds and you get a herniated disc trying to just move you're just moving the computer 4 inches so you can vacuum behind it. Next thing you know, you're sitting there in the doctor's office and he's telling you got a slip disc because, well, you shouldn't have been bent over moving a 150 pound piece of machinery.
Yeah, that's what those drain valves are for.
Oh God, yeah, that's the best part. When I made my first build, I didn't set it up with a drain valve or an input port. It was all one big closed loop. Dude, priming that thing and getting all of the air out of it, I literally, like, I was cursing people's names, people I didn't even know. Like, I'm sitting there like, Jeremy, you there at Best Buy, you, Jeremy, screw you, dude, because you're my problem right now. I didn't buy anything from Best Buy, and there was probably no Jeremy there, but I was cursing his name.
Oh, the reservoir I had an input. I was like, okay, but I did not put a drainage valve on it. Oof. I'm like, it's not pumping as much. I'll just keep filling the reservoir. It'll be fine. I'll just keep filling it. Oh shit, it's spilling everywhere because it's purposely busting the tubes. I put way too much in there.
Oh yeah.
He goes, I forgot that it has to cycle back through. Yeah. Thankfully, I didn't ruin anything.
So I had my pumps at the bottom, and I had my hard drives at top. So I even had I had these inflatable bags that press against the bottom of the hard drive and cool the hard drive as well. Like that's how friggin', like, I was so bad. But I literally had one of those lines disconnected that was going down so that I would have it pumped from the reservoir. I would feed liquid down into that. So I had that laying into a thing, sucking fluid. And I had the other one pumping over there. And I literally sat there and I would turn the pumps on to get the pumps to prime. That's how I would get all the air out of the system. And then the best part, the creme de la creme. to get it all connected back up. I filled the reservoir to the brim, turned it all on while having the thing leaning towards me. So fluid is pumping, just puking out of this line as I'm connecting it up as quick as I can and snapping it all together. Oh God, the most janky, stupidest way of doing it. And I get it all said and done. I get it all connected. I get everything prim and proper. It's looking fantastic. All the air is out of the lines. I am feeling like a champ. And my friend looks at me and says, God, that was a pain in the ass for you, wasn't it? I said, yeah. He goes, why didn't you just put a drainage line down at the bottom so you could just bleed the air out that way? Or do one at top, and that way you could fill it in and then drain it from the bottom. And I looked at him with seething hatred, with just like, because I literally spent the past hour and a half getting fluid into the system and failing miserably for an hour and a half until I finally just got lucky. And I just looked at him. If I had laser beams installed in my eyes, I would be in jail for murder to this day.
Yeah, that's why I could never be Superman.
That's why I can't be Kano. Fucking laser beams, right? It's better than a fireball. Fuck it. Whoops.
Yeah, liquid cooling looks amazing.
Yeah.
It really does. It's just not efficient.
No. It just looks cool. I mean, it does the job. It just looks cool. That's it.
It looks badass, but here, my computer's tucked up under my desk, and I bought all those RGB fucking RAM sticks because, yeah, I actually puke the RGB stuff. I don't like it at all whatsoever. But I bought it because I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to be a dickhead because my case came with a clear side panel, as you can't buy a fucking case without a cleared side panel anymore. But, yeah, so I bought all that, but it sits under my desk. I don't care as long as the airflow is fine and my temperatures are stable. Exactly. Fuck it, dude. But one day I will get back to doing something stupid, and I will build something just for the fuck of it. Mm-hmm. It'll be my old man computer, right? It'd be like it'll be one of those LN2 motherboards or LR2 motherboards that have 2 Ryzen processors on it. It's got 256 gigs of RAM. It'll be nothing but a fucking workstation. It won't even play a game. You're like, I get 9 frames a second playing Minecraft. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll have 2 of the most fancy Threadrippers like just packed in there with some weird custom closed loop with like dual reservoirs, dual radiators, that when you turn the friggin' machine on, the lights are going to dim because it's got an 18,000 watt power supply in it. Why? I don't know why, but it's got it.
But you know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to mount it to the wall so everybody can see the intricate fucking piping that is done and be like, wow, what is that? Be like, yeah, I can definitely get to my Facebook and I can post my old memes on here.
Yeah.
That's going to be it.
Yep. And it can run Minesweeper.
No. It will run 4,000 instances of Minesweeper in one window, and I've got 48 windows open.
Yep, exactly. It's the only thing it can do. It can't run 3 tabs of Google Chrome simultaneously, but those Minesweepers, it'll have every goddamn one open. God.
Man, I read a really good fucking study about Minesweeper and Solitaire and why they were included in Windows to begin with.
I'm interested.
So we will have to touch on that at a different podcast.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's it's short and sweet, but it's interesting.
It is. It is an interesting story. Well, actually, you know what? On that note, where can people find you at, man?
I exclusively troll the G.N.A Discord. Unfortunately, I've been in Thoughts and Shots Discord as well, and I don't think that went over really well. I'm ashamed to fucking listen to that episode's coming up. But yeah, you can always find me in the in the G.N.A Discord, maybe in the Thoughts and Shots Discord.
I actually got to get over there and get one of those pillows because you see this bed all disheveled behind me. A little Thoughts and Shots pillow back there right next to a G.N.A pillow. I think would look really, really nice.
There you go, man. I got a nice Thoughts and Shots t-shirt.
Nice. Well, I'm Cecil Xavier, your host. You can find me on Cecil vs. Games on Twitter, Cecil Xavier everywhere else, Ustream, Twitch, Facebook, Grindr, wherever the hell else you're looking for me. I'm on Discords. I'm in Thoughts and Shots Discords, TPCs, Battle Sloths. I'm in Lynchers. I am in Microbrews. I'm in Ultra Super Mega. I'm pretty much everywhere. I'm even over in Vintage's Hangout, which he hasn't been on the show in a while. I gotta beat that man into submission and get him on the show again. I did do the one-off with him, which was fun. The D&D one-off. But yeah, so we hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Reviews and subscriptions help other people find the show, because more subscriptions, the more people look, it bumps us top of the list, blah, 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 yakety schmacky. But anyways, if you want other people to listen to us, go ahead and give us a review. We haven't really been doing all that much outside of the podcast just because of the pandemic, and everything's just been kind of crappy. But I am hoping to get some of the G.N.A. Misadventure League going again, because I have, I got to admit, doing the one-off the other weekend really brought that itch back of wanting to get just a fairly regular game going. Not like once a week, just I think like a once a month thing, just to kick things going. So really getting that itch going. I do have 800 hours of audio from the original Misadventure League I still need to edit in there and get out. So,
oh man, fuck editing it. Just slap it together and just release 8 fucking hours of audio or 800 hours or whatever the fuck it is as a one big session thing.
Oof, I might just have to. Drop us a line if you've heard something on the show, you want to talk to us about it, or you just want to be on the show. Drop us a line over at G.N.A. Podcast at G.N.A. and your DNA.1 with your questions, comments, death threats. We don't care. You can join the Discord. Just hit that pinned tweet. We are still currently partnered with Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is a game service where you can purchase games just like everywhere else, but with a little bit of a twist. It's everything that you purchase has a donation to charity. Currently, they still have the sliders where you can choose what goes where, but I think they're trying to get away from that and give just a fixed amount to charity and a fixed amount to the developers and all that other fun stuff. We'll see when it comes along. As of right now, we're still partnered with them. Just remember, if you do get something from there, put the !partner equals G.N.A. podcast at the end of whatever link you have, and that will let them know that we sent you. If you are buying a bundle, make sure to go into the sliders and slide that G.N.A. podcast all the way down to 0. We don't want your money. We want you to give it to charity, give it to developers, maybe throw a couple bones over to Humble Bundle, but we don't want your money. We just want you to go there and donate to charity, because that's what we're all about. God, I feel like I've missed something. Did I miss something?
You can always visit our wonderful website at www.GNApodcast.com or GNApodcast.com. I think I just said GNApodcast.com. I'm not even sure anymore. I'm Damok and I'm drunk. Fuck you.
Well, Damok, thank you for joining me tonight. It was wonderful having you on, like always.
Oh man, thanks for having me. It's a great time.
Have a good night.
Take care, brother.